It was a cold, silent night. The kind of night where the streets feel empty and time seems to move slower. A taxi driver was finishing his shift. He had been driving for hours, exhausted, thinking only about going home. But like many nights before, he told himself, just one last ride. As he drove along a quiet road on the edge of the city, he noticed something unusual. A young girl was standing alone near the side of the road, close to a cemetery. She wasn't moving. She wasn't looking around. She was just standing there, as if she had been waiting for him. Something about her felt off, but he couldn't just leave her there. He slowed down and stopped the car. The girl opened the door and quietly sat in the back seat. She gave him an address in a soft, distant voice. As he started driving, a strange silence filled the car. Normally, passengers would talk or at least move a little, but not her. She sat completely still, looking straight ahead, not saying a word. After a few minutes, the driver felt something he couldn't explain. The air inside the car was getting colder. Not just cool, but unnaturally cold. He glanced at her through the mirror. Her face was pale. Her eyes looked tired, distant, almost empty. Then he noticed she was shivering. Her hands were trembling slightly from the cold. Without thinking, he took off his jacket and handed it back to her. He told her she looked freezing. She slowly reached out and took it, and quietly said thank you. Her voice was so soft it almost didn't feel real. They continued the drive in silence. The city lights passed by, but inside the car it felt like time had stopped. When they finally reached the address, the taxi stopped in front of an old house. The girl opened the door. Before stepping out, she turned slightly toward him, and thanked him again. Then she stepped out and walked toward the house, disappearing into the darkness. She never paid, but somehow that didn't bother him. Something else stayed in his mind. The next day, as he was getting ready for work, something suddenly hit him. His jacket. He had forgotten it with the girl. At first, he thought it wasn't a big deal, but the more he thought about it, the more it bothered him. Not the jacket itself, but her. The silence. The cold. The way she looked at didn't feel normal. Later that day, he decided to go back to the same address. He needed answers. He knocked on the door. After a few seconds, an older man opened it. The driver tried to stay calm, and explained that he had brought his daughter home the night before, and that she had his jacket. The old man looked confused, and asked him to describe her. The driver explained everything in detail, her face, her voice, the way she behaved. As he spoke, the man's expression slowly changed. His face became pale, and his eyes filled with something close to fear. He said quietly that the description sounded exactly like his daughter. Then there was a long silence before he added that his daughter had died 2 years ago. The driver felt his chest tighten. He said that it was impossible because he had driven her just the night before. The old man shook his head and asked him to wait. He went inside and returned with a photograph. The moment the driver saw it, everything inside him froze. It was her. The same girl. The same face. He whispered that it was the girl he had picked up. The old man looked at him with sadness, and repeated that she had been gone for 2 years. The driver left the house, but his mind was racing. Nothing made sense. It couldn't be real, and yet he knew what he saw. He knew who he had driven. That night, he made a decision he couldn't explain. He got into his car and drove back to the place where he had first seen her, near the cemetery. The road was empty, and the air felt heavy. He stepped out of the car, and slowly walked inside the cemetery. Grave after grave stood in silence. Then suddenly he stopped. His heart began to race. There, hanging on a gravestone, was his jacket. His hands started shaking as he slowly looked down. On the grave, there was a photograph that it was her. The same girl who sat in his car. The same girl who thanked him. The same girl who was never supposed to be there.